Hello, Stephanie Zima here, My Way of Life Coaching, and today we're going to walk it free and we're going to heal, connect, and level up. And we're going to walk free one of the most important topics that I feel like has been a theme for me in 2025. Being exhausted and overthinking a lot of decisions left me during my journey often very much feeling incapable, right? I would freeze myself. My nervous system would come down to almost wanting to fall into a depression at times. And people would not necessarily know that about me because I seem to be somebody that has it together all the time. But when there are so many different decisions, and some of you that are closer to me know that we've had some health scares in our family for the last couple of years, and my daughter had been diagnosed with cancer, so we've been going back and forth, hospitals, and all these kind of things. There was a lot of mental weight that has been on me throughout this time, but this is not about that. It's about any one of us, right? We women in general have a lot of mental load. We have, maybe health situations. Maybe we just have children. Maybe we have schools, doctors, their records, the way how their testing is. Like, our jobs, right? Our homes, like, there's so many different things that we are carrying. And so many of us have such a huge mental load that we don't even know how to put the next step in, how to put another step forward, right? And I want to tell you that if you're exhausted from overthinking every decision, it's literally not because you're incapable, it's because your self-esteem has been worn down. Okay? Low self-esteem is something that fuels overthinking. And it's a big topic, and I don't think I can put it all together in one quick live here, but low self-esteem is often the disease that is underlying this huge umbrella of overwhelm. And when I say that, it's because when you want to go through life confidently, right? You are not overthinking any kind of decision. You're making the decision. You're weighing in the facts. You're saying, okay, this is what this person is saying, and this is what that person is saying. What am I saying? After you examined the facts, what am I thinking? What am I saying? And then you make a decision what will work best for you. That is the assertive way of going through life in any kind of situation. You're always wanting to hear everyone's sides first, listen first, and then make your own decision based on your own values, your own standards, your own perspectives, your own, like, your filter. But many of us adults, regardless of what your age is, right? You can be in your 60s, you can be in your 30s. Many of us adults have never been taught how to actually do that, how to have our own values, how to have our own standards, how to set our baseline, our foundation. We have not been taught this. And some Christian people, they have a baseline based on what the Bible says, right? Which is a good starting point for many. And other people that have not been raised Christian, they may not have that. They may not know their baseline. They may not know that they want to operate their life based on integrity, honesty, respect, hardworking, right? What are your core values, what you believe to be true, what you want to live your life by, right? What are your principles? Like, I'm somebody that starts everything and never finishes, or am I a finisher? What are your principles? You have not I'm taking a stab at here, but I'm sure that you have not thought about it unless you're in some kind of a personal development program where you have personal development coaching. You are probably have never been asked that question. What are your principles? You may operate based on principles depending on your upbringing and how in tune your parents were, and maybe you've been in sports you've been drilled into certain principles. Certain things are mandatory in a high athletic environment, so you have gotten some of it, but I really, really doubt that you have thought about it consciously. Now, many of us are dealing with this overwhelm, right? And we don't really know how to get out of this overwhelm. And that is why we are numbing out everything. We are sitting and scrolling mindlessly on our phone just to get this little dopamine hit every single time a like is coming in, or a funny reel is coming in, or something. And that is just our brain starting to get conditioned to certain things. That does not relieve overwhelm, you guys. It adds to your overwhelm, because the more your mind is distracted from what really matters on the bottom, on your foundation, the more all the tasks that you should be doing are going to pile up and you're going to fall behind, right? So it's not that you are not capable of making a decision. Of course you are, you're an adult. But you are not making a decision because your self-esteem is low, okay? And it's this weird cycle, and I want you to hear me out here because it's really important. This is important for you to level up your life. It's important for you to learn so you can help your children level up their life and to have a good foundation as to where they are going to grow from, right? Because here's the thing, if you have low self-esteem, you're going to try to build it with other dopamines, right? You're going to try to fill that void. You're going to choose the easy way because that's what us humans are going to try to do, right? We're going to go what we desire. It's the cheap food. It's the laziness, it's the TV, and we disguise this as self-care, and we disguise this as um as relaxing, and it's really not, because what it does, it's taking away from what we really should be doing. We should be getting very clear on what we want our life to be like. And I know in 2025, many, 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 many people are setting the New Year's resolutions, and, we're going to be doing something different in 2026. But are you though? Are you though? Because here's the thing, you're going to set a goal. You're going to say, I'm going to work out every single day in January. But what has your pattern been like? Have you been overthinking? Have you been overwhelmed this year? And if you don't have a strategy to raise your esteem level so you can be more assertive with every single thing in your life, whether or not it is your food choices, whether or not it's your workout choices, whether or not it's how you're attacking the laziness that you've got in your life, whether or not it's attacking the fear of reaching out to people and working your business, whether or not it's the fear of asserting yourself in boundaries towards your family and say, this is my work time, this is my care for me time, this is my relax time, this is like, have you made a plan to attack every angle of your life to be less overwhelmed, more clear, right? We are struggling with a mental overwhelm, every one of us, whether or not you're in sales, whether or not you're a network marketer, whether or not you're a realtor, whether or not you're an insurance agent, whether or not you're a mom, whether or not you're just, anyone, right? It doesn't matter. We all are struggling with overwhelm. Alone, the data input that we are being thrown at this moment, our brains are going to start freezing up. Your nervous system is on high drive. Everyone's cortisol levels are driven through the roof, your hormones are disrupted, your gut is out of balance. Like, we are going to be a hot mess if you do not say, stop, hold please, slow this down. We're going to need to build a solid foundation of who are we? What is our identity? Where do we fit in this big, great scheme of things? Right? Clear action. Where are we right now? What is our starting point? What do we believe in? How do we want to live our life? How do we want to build our family? How do we want to grow old? Okay? What are our values that we live our life by? Our compass that we have, right? Our true north, whether or not you are a Christian and you believe in God, whether or not you just, believe in the university, into the universe, whatever it is you are believing in. But what is your true north? What are you guiding yourself, your decisions on? See, self-esteem is really your gut feeling. Self-esteem is really your inside true north, okay? That is based on your principles, based on your view of the world and your identity. And when we talk about low self-esteem, I'm not talking about you going out there and being like, whoa, I am like, you know, the best thing next to sliced cheese. That's not what I'm talking about when I say you need to have more self-esteem. What I mean is, who are you as a person? Who are you right here? What do you want to live your life by? And I dare you to write that down in the comments right now, or send me a message. Tell me who you are, because I want to make this really bold claim that I don't think you know who you are. I think you've lost your way. I feel like you have probably never, ever, ever thought about it. And I can say that with most certainty, because I remember when I was there. I remember when I was overwhelmed, exhausted, completely, utterly, constantly angry at the world. I've never had a joyful moment. I was I was in so much pain mentally and emotionally. I was working, trying to get other people's approval. I was trying to do the best thing I could do. I would feel resentful. I would be doing everything for everybody, and I would get nothing in return, and I would feel so awful inside. But I never said anything to anybody because the shame was like so big. How can you say that? How can you feel so selfish? All of these thoughts that have been in my brain. Every time I was exhausted and I didn't want to do something, and I did still say yes to it, right? I wanted to say no so many times, but I couldn't, because boom, it was in my head. You're so selfish. You need to let other people do what you need to do. And then every single time I was organizing something for people, or birthdays or something, and I was being called controlling, and I was hurting so badly inside, because I thought to myself, I'm not controlling. I'm just trying to do this for you all, until it dawned to me, stop. Stop. Just stop doing everything for everybody. Stop. They don't want it. They don't want it. And I started realizing that I needed to listen to myself. I realized that I needed to get my own true north. Okay? I needed to find my baseline. I needed to figure out what makes my body feel good, what makes my mind feel at ease, what makes me be at peace. Because ultimately, when you find your esteem, when you find your confidence, when you find yourself, you are going to be able to help others much, much better, because you are going to help them become their best self. Okay? This is not a popularity contest of which coach is more pretty and which coach is better. Like, I don't believe so. I believe this Being a coach, being a life coach, being a sales coach is to get out of you your best version of yourself, because you are assigned a job, you are assigned people that you're supposed to help, you are assigned a group, a group of the world that is yours, or a place from the internet that is yours, a section of the internet, whatever you want to call it. Your mission field, you have your own mission field. Okay? How can I tell you I need to duplicate myself? I don't want to duplicate myself. I don't. I want you to be the best version of yourself. And in order for you to be the best version of yourself, you need to stop overthinking what outside influence you should start with. You need to stop doing all that stuff, all that mental load, and say, hey, wait a minute, what is my next thing based on my values that I want to live my life on, based on my principles that I know how to live by and want to live by? What's your identity? Your principles. You can work, if you don't know what I mean by principles, that's your identity. For example, I am a finisher. I finish every single thing I start. What is your I am statement? I am what? I am what? What are you? I dare you, write that down. Think on that this Christmas season, on this last week of the month, a year, right? Think about this. Who are you? I am what? That's your principles. And if you realize that those principles, that there's nothing there, I remember that time. I remember there was nothing there. I tried to do that and I broke down. I started crying. I was like, what are you talking about? I am what? I am not existent, is what I realized. I am not existent. That hurt bad, bad. But it was also a good start. It was a good start for me to start realizing that I was not existent. I was a chameleon. I was somebody that was trying to get everybody what they wanted without ever thinking about what I wanted. Never once have I thought about what I wanted. Yet I was being accused of that all the time. And I thought to myself, I'm like, okay, well, if you all are saying that I'm selfish and I'm controlling and I'm doing all the things, I'm like, you know what? Maybe I will be. Let me try that out for a change. And so I did. I stopped. I stopped everything for everybody. I stopped doing everything I didn't want to do. I stopped being the doormat, so to speak. And I started going on a quest of trying to figure out who I was. I traveled all over the place. I traveled with my kids. I traveled alone. I traveled all over the place. Not because of the adventure that came later, right? But in the beginning, when I first traveled, I needed to travel to find myself. I needed to travel to prove to myself that I was capable. That's how I started building my esteem. That's where I started realizing that I have a me. I have a me. It's something that I can do for myself. Like, I can make a home anywhere and everywhere. That was so important because I had to walk it free. I had to walk free the fear of being alone. I needed to put myself into this position over and over and over and over again so that I could prove to myself that I was able to. Okay? And while I was able to, I also started realizing what I liked and what I didn't like. And I started realizing I really do like living in the Midwest because from here I'm able to go all over the place, right? Fairly quickly. If I would live somewhere else, then I would have to fly a long time to get somewhere else. But in the Midwest right now, I can go all over the place. I kind of like that. I also realized that I like the city and I like the nature. I started realizing that I'm such a complex person that I love so many different adventures that I cannot settle on one thing only. I guess I am just a little bit unique, a little bit different than other people. That's okay. So I want you to think, I want you to, I want you to start realizing that when you are overloaded all the time, it's because you are not clear. You are not clear on who you are. You're not clear on what direction you're wanting to take your life. And that is okay. Because right now, you can start. You can always start. Okay. And if you are an online entrepreneur, you'll probably have been given the biggest, best gift ever, because online entrepreneurship is what got me exposed to coaching, is what got me exposed to learning who I am in the midst of building a business. Now think, if you want to build a business, you cannot do it without having a solid foundation as to who you are. You cannot build, unless you're an inventor that invents something that everybody wants, you are probably like you're inventing a product that you're then going to sell, and maybe you're going to hire salespeople that are going to sell it for you. Then you can do it, right? Without doing personal development work. But I really even question that, because I know that every entrepreneur has done personal development work, because at some point, one another, you have to learn how to be disciplined. You have to learn how to be strategic. You have to learn how to put one-on-one in place. You have to learn how to be alone with your ideas, even though nobody's going to cheer for you. You have to learn how to work in the dark room. All these things. But if you're an online entrepreneur that builds your personal brand through showing up online, you need to know what to post. You need to know, how are you differentiating yourself from the masses? See, if you're selling water bottles, right, or water, you go and say, here, my water, my water, my water, but why would I buy from you? Why would I buy it from you? Why would I buy this pen from you? Right? That's the question. Why? Why would I do it? Well, you have been assigned a corner of the internet for you. You have a mission field. But if you don't know what your mission field is, because you're not clear on what your foundation is, where your talents are, where your abilities are, if you don't know who you are, how are you going to help other people? How are you going to sell this? You have to learn this. You have to figure out who you are from the ground, okay? And it starts with starting somewhere. It starts with acknowledging your starting point. As much pain as it's going to bring with you, okay? It may be painful. And this is why not every mentor is going to be good for you. Not every coach is going to be good for you. You're going to have somebody that can hold heavy emotional baggage at times, because I'll tell you, this is an emotional journey. This is really hard. Like, you can choose when you have so much pressure on you, so much weight, you could fall into depression. There were many times throughout my journey where I thought like, oh, am I depressed? Am I depressed? Am I falling into a depression? There was thoughts of that. There were thoughts where I thought, I just want to be in bed. I just want to pull the blanket over my head and not come out. But I have those little 3 ladies that I care for, that have been entrusted to me, my daughters. They're my why. Okay, I cannot let them down. And it's not about how to make so much money, but it's showing them how to live life free, how to live life in a way that they can tackle this crazy world that we've got going on right now, with those crazy people all over the place. Like, I've got to teach them resilience and perseverance, and listening to their own true north, listening to their own self-esteem, so that they can decide going up in life whether or not they should believe this side or that side. Okay? I don't want them to be on an ocean that's all crazy, blowing all over the place and not even knowing what to do. I want them to put their anchor down and say, yeah, life is maybe crazy and I'm all over the place, but I'm always coming back here. That's what I want for them, and that's what I have to do myself. I have to show them. I have to show them because you lead by example. So, anyway, long story short, go into the Freedom Mentorship. If that is something you want to learn, the Freedom Mentorship is going to teach you. Okay? I know that not a lot of people can afford maybe the high ticket coachings, especially not if you're a new online entrepreneur. If you're somebody that just starts out, right? You may not be able to afford $5,000 programs, $10,000 programs, $20,000 masterminds. You may not be able to afford that. And that's why, exactly why I made it for $27 only a month. Okay, I want you to get started. You may have to upgrade to one-on-one coaching depending on how deep you need to go with your stuff, right? And that's available too. But you can start for $27. You will have weekly group coachings. You will be able to ask all the questions. I will customize trainings for you. I wanted it to be available and affordable for everyone. $27 is nothing compared to what you are going to get back in your life, for your life, the quality of life that you're going to get, the mental load relief that you're going to get, the clear actions that you are going to be able to take, and the momentum that you are going to get in your business and in your life and in your relationships. It's a whole walk it free system where we heal, where we connect with ourselves, with others, with the purpose, with God, and where we then level up by taking the next steps that are yours, not mine, yours. It's a program that you won't find anywhere else. Okay? Hope to see you in there. All right. Bye.